Everyone, thanks for coming back after the break. Really appreciate you being here, listening to me, especially when I'm all by myself. Makes me feel warm and fuzzy that I know at least 3 other people out there are listening. We're going to be talking about climate change. And we had one of the biggest climate change goons that I know of who I like. I like this guy quite a bit. I like him a lot. When I ran for Congress and got in trouble, he was the only one out of everybody in the media that gave me a fair shake. So, it's with some trepidation and some heavy heart that I'm going to use him as an example because he's a really nice guy. We agree on a lot of stuff. But last week I said, my only question to him was, well, hold on. Where'd you get, what study was that? And his immediate response was loud, argumentative, and shut down any further debate. Science is settled, he screamed at me. If you don't believe me, you go look at the review, YouTube. Bottom line is, that's how they all respond when you challenge them. Anything where your life is in immediate danger, I'm the government, give me a lot of money so I can fix it, should make you stop and be skeptical. That's what they do. Oh my God, your life's in danger. Oh my God, it's going to get worse. We got to give government a whole lot of money so they can fix the problem. Makes me go, well, hold on, what's the problem? How do you define that? My second problem, and I think this is a giant liberal lie, is that CO2, we're actually going to go with what Ed said. 3 of the hottest years have been in the last 15 years. If you go look at those numbers, those 3 hottest years on record since 1890 when they started keeping track and have only been accurate in any sense of the word since 1970. So we're talking 50 years of information. Those 3 years are within the margin of error of the measuring instruments. So they might have been hot. They might have been the coolest. But that margin of error makes it uncertain. And that margin of error is a big thing. If it is off by 0.04 of a degree, which is what this is, then you can say, yeah, it's the hottest thing on record. If it's up 100th of a degree, is that really a problem? You set a record. But it's like when the Carolina Panthers came into the league. Every game they set a record. 2 years down the road, they were still setting records. Right? It's the same thing here. Your data set's not deep enough to say, geez, we've set records. Because the bottom line is, yeah, it's the hottest since we've been keeping records, but it's not the hottest ever. Right? We're a far cry from the hottest ever. We also know that climate change things, that the supposed climate change that's going on now has happened before and even more rapidly. There's multiple things that go into it. And my problem is they focus on carbon. There's a lot of other carbon things that are out there. They always focus on the oil companies. Well, hold on. If you look at things that replace oil in our energy, right? The green things. One, solar panels cost a ton of carbon to produce. A ton. Far more than it would be if you just burned a plant. Burned coal or oil or natural gas. Number 2, there's far more energy into a windmill than you'll ever get out of it. Period. So you're still using oil to build these green energy technologies. 3, natural gas burns doesn't really put any CO2 out in the atmosphere. Puts a lot of sulfur out there. Puts a lot of other greenhouse gases, but CO2 is rather low. 3, cars aren't the number 1 cause of carbon emissions. They aren't. That's what they focus on, though. So they want to get rid of cars. Want you to ride a bike everywhere, and we're going to build a bunch of bike trails. Well, just so you know, the bike trails that we have in Iowa are equivalent to, in CO2 terms, the cement that just making the cement is equivalent to 153,000 vehicles in a year. That's the amount of emissions they make in a year is equivalent to the cement it took to build the bicycle trails. Well, isn't that just silly? Right? And the problem is it doesn't count the fuel it costs to transport it there, to spin it up, to pour it. It releases carbon as it dries over its lifetime. That's why it becomes more and more brittle, right? You pour fresh concrete, man, that thing's solid. After a while, it starts cracking because it becomes brittle, because carbon is released. So how come they're not out there screaming about let's get rid of cement? Because it's not politically expedient, right? You attack the bad old corporations and the oil companies and corporations in general. But the bottom line is the person who made my hoodie is a corporation. Person who made my phone is a corporation. My drink comes from a corporation. When people visit the doctor in my neighborhood, I'm visiting a corporation. They visit me, they're visiting a corporation. If they're tuning into this show, you're watching a corporation on a corporate TV through a corporate internet. Social media is a giant corporation, right? So they attack corporations, make them pay their fair share. Suddenly, things get more expensive. That's just how it works. So they attack the oil companies because they're an easy target. That way, they're able to dig the money out, not only out of the government, but also out of the oil corporations. Like Ed said, follow the money. Well, I do. And what I know is this climate change battle, all it's doing is making the poor poorer. A flight to London used to be $700. It's $1,400. That went up in a stroke of a pen over in the EU. They went, well, we're going to do cap and trade. Well, that's just an extra way of getting money into the government pockets. Next time you fly, look at the taxes and fees. A flight to London is $252. That's how much the airline makes. $1,400. The rest of that goes to the government. Trying to comply with all the BS EPA regulations costs our economy $1.75 trillion or $1.75 trillion a year. That's somewhere around 8%, 12% of our economy. I can't remember the number off the top of my head. That's every single year. $1.75 trillion. You could fight another war in Iraq for that. For oil. That's the end of our show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We will be back next week. Hopefully, Lefty will have raised the minimum wage. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Without you, we couldn't do what we do.
Hi, I'm Representative Tom Shaw, and I love these guys. Both of them.
Love these guys. Get over here. Get over here. Love both of them.